familiar anymore, right? So today we would like to discuss with you about how to write a scientific paper, I think. Yes. So we hope that this meeting will bring us new knowledge and also motivation to write more, because one of our responsibility as a lecturer is to have a research and publish the research into some article in the journal or seminar. So we hope that it will help us to produce more papers and expand our knowledge. So enjoy the workshop and Pak Nicholas. So time is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will have the right things that I have many points. My presentation is divided into about 20 points. You can stop at every point and discuss. I have prepared this when I was home. I was the first time here, so there are a few things are out of context. That maybe they are not applicable here or they are applicable in a different way. So some things you will put in clear and others you can stop. Is there a noise problem? Yeah? Okay. So, look, in my life, or in the academic life throughout the Western world, throughout Western Europe and the United States, general article is everything. Yeah. So you have on your CV that you have qualifications from here, from there, and you work here and there, but then it's the journal article. And the journal article is very clear. So in the United States, there is one big journal that's everything. Journal of American Statistical Association. PhD at the Brown University, PhD in statistics. It's not exactly a requirement, but almost like a requirement. You have a journal article before you finish, published in a JASA, the Journal of American Statistical Association. It is very difficult to have attempt to publish there. Most of the papers are with many authors, and all of the authors with genuine contributions to the paper. And so my record is, I have tried 3 times. 3 takes. But even getting a referee report is useful, because you know how to improve the paper and send some references. So among many things we go through the refereeing process. Now, there are a few disappointing features in this. One is that in the last decade there are many journals. If you want to publish something immediately, that's not some of many things we go through. These journals are not very valuable. There are many reasons for it. I think feature many of them are is they pay the last decade. There are many journals which is true of you. If you want to publish something immediately in review supervision, these journals are not very valuable. Very football against them, longer fees and money in terms of features and others. They pay the last decade. There are many journals which are very good, show you not in other software that you can choose to put in very expensive. And the journals are very very football against you beat the local fees and money 10 years ago to the others. They pay less money in English. They say you are too many journals with your But also sometimes Yes. infrastructure of direct payments, which means what are your research interests? What can be developed into a in a paper, there are papers of all kinds, so you really have to think about the infrastructure of direct payments, which means what are your research interests? What can be developed into a in a paper, there are papers of all kinds, so you really have to think about the infrastructure of direct payments, which means what are your research interests? What can be developed into a science? In a paper, there are papers of all kinds, so you really have to think about the infrastructure of direct payments, which means what are your research interests? What can be developed into a science? In a paper, there are papers of all kinds, so you really have to think about the infrastructure of direct payments, which means what are your research interests? What can be developed into a science? In a paper, there are papers of all kinds, so you really have to think about the infrastructure of direct payments, which means what are your research interests? So what can be developed into a science? Agriculture. understand this better? How can I reorganize? It's this. Yeah, not quite in, but that's how it works. Yeah. All right. So novelty and originality, that's one sort of important aspect of a paper, but another one is good scientific practice. So, for instance, I don't have any papers with me because they're difficult to read. They are from medical sciences, and I'm one of many contributors. So there, I would say there's no statistical novelty. There are some new things introduced, but they're not invented. They are borrowed from other subject areas. Yeah. Language. How do you work on it a long time. So the instinct is, let's have a long paper. No, you have to change that. Let's have a short, condensed paper. Or rather, you start with a paper and let's think about how to condense it. Because the king the most important person in a paper is not the writer, it's the reader. Yeah? You have to think very hard about how to make the paper attractive. Attraction is not a cheap term here, it's something very expensive. Yeah? How to entice the reader to think and appreciate that I need to read this, because if I read it, then I have the capacity to write papers, to innovate, to come up with something new. Yeah? Because who is reading the paper? It's people like you. People who want to write papers, who want to have new things, who want to have careers in sciences, yeah, and so on. Yeah? So that it needs a lot of introspection, a lot of hard thinking about how to phrase, yeah, and how to phrase in a foreign language. English is foreign language for me too. Well, sort of not terribly, yeah, but I recall times when sort of that was the main barrier. So how to express yourself so that people would understand it, and then how to make it easier. Yeah. So the language has to be concise and complete. Yeah. These are two contradicting attributes. Complete means more and more. Yeah. There has to be more and more content, but concise, expressed in few words. Yeah. So we'll go through sort of these issues in finer detail. Yeah. So how can you recognize that this can be made more compact? And sort of some simple answers are: look at the technical terms you use. In a sentence, you should use a technical term only once. If you use it twice, there are many kinds of English. English is in the newspapers, is in the sort of cheap newspapers. Those are different languages. The English in science is simple. No long sentences. Now, I would say to you, definitely no long sentences, because when you are composing a long sentence with parenthetical phrases and commas and everything else, you get it wrong. Everybody gets it wrong. Yeah? Gets it wrong when you want the reader to get the right impression, the right balance of this and that and so on. Yeah? So that's why short sentences, simple statements, yeah, that are interconnected, yeah, that is the good way of writing, the easy way how to translate from a foreign language, and a guarantee that it will be understood by the reader. Yeah? Okay, so don't underrate the reader. Now, here the reader means when you write something, you ask somebody who understands the technical part of the paper, ask them to read it and comment on it. Now this is asking for yet another alteration or change in the culture. That when I write, I don't like criticism of what I write. Yeah, I really don't like it. But at the same time, I have to be professional. What reading letters is, I want to write it in such a way that it will be beyond criticism. So I invite criticism in private. Yeah, I ask somebody, single person, so yeah, could you have a look at this? Then you get ideas, and you can sort the ideas out. The ideas may be irrelevant, they may be helpful, they may be unhelpful. Yeah, but you know, it's like this. When science is a business of disagreement. If you agree with everything, you never innovate. Innovation starts with disagreement. Yeah? Or take it further. You disagree for the sake of disagreement, because if you develop that, you'll find out whether does it lead anywhere or it doesn't. Yeah? And if it leads somewhere, it says, I have an opportunity to come up with something new, to explore something. So I compare it with the post office or with a shoemaker. The post office, in a post office, they receive a letter. You pay for the stamp. Yeah? And with that, you have a guarantee that that letter will be delivered exactly to the address within time. Yeah? Which means, say, in England or in the UK, next day. Yeah? And nobody will tamper with the letter. Yeah? And so on. Shoemaker. When somebody tells me that shoes number 7, this kind of leather, and so on, yeah, it's not just that I make the shoes, but I guarantee these shoes, say for children, yeah, they will be good until the child grows and needs bigger shoes. Yeah? And that child can abuse the shoes, yeah, whichever way, mud, football, and I don't know what else. Yeah? Okay? So this is the idea. Now these professions have a long history, yeah, and with that long history comes the ideas of quality and of yeah. In writing papers in statistics, it's not quite like that, yeah. It's not as developed, but just have that on the horizon. This is how we would like to have it. Now, what is the paper for? The paper is, you know, for writing other papers, yeah, for promoting the subject, for developing. Now, you know, in social statistics, it is frequently for growing up a better society. So, you know, small estimation of the subject. Now, you know, it is interesting, but you have to look beyond. Yeah, so somebody reading it will say, oh yes, I think so, you know, this and that is good for. So what it means, you have the sterile scientific development, then comes the appeal of what is it good for whom is it, which is asking for a good, telling application. An application that would somebody would say, oh yes, I would like a grant to that organization or the Ministry of Health, because this is what they're interested in. They will understand the benefits of applying this, and so on. So these things are all interconnected. They are not in a vacuum, and so you know, when I get my PhD and I go to work, I'm in a vacuum. So this infrastructure has to be built where you know this, you know that statistics needs even more than anything else, because if you want to be a theoretical statistician, you have a very, very tough life today. I would suggest just leave it. Yeah? I would suggest really just leave it, or leave it as a hobby for Friday late afternoon. Yeah? That you can make you can make much more, you can generate much more satisfaction, much more of everything if you always look at how this can be applied. When you talk about, oh, it is applied, can I do the application better? So there are, an application, a particular problem is dealt in papers not once, but several times, because it has several aspects, and then somebody else thinks about how to improve this. An application motivates, oh, this is the problem, and that's not properly addressed in the whole thing. Yeah. So I suggest as a general strategy, just stick to applications. I love theory. I studied mathematics, and I think that equations are beautiful. I think that algebra, especially linear algebra, matrices and all that it's poetry. It's a sort of poetry.
Poetry.
I'm pretty sure because this is, I'm sure because this is not an argument about truth. This is an argument about perspective. That if you don't agree with me, that's perfectly all right, because everybody's different. Okay. But to motivate things, if I understand linear algebra, or if I like linear algebra, I can do regression better. I understand regression. Ordinary regression. I can program much better. In particular, think about how you do statistical computing. Well, I'm sorry, no stories. When the first computers came about, I had my first computer on my desk in 1989, 30 years ago. Here it was probably much later. In those days, computers were still very expensive. And now, a year or two later, I was a visitor in a department, in a statistics department, where with computer technology and information and that's where I learned about R. Or rather S plus, as it was, S plus, and then it changed. So that's where I realized that SAS, SPSS, Excel. So why is R so important? It is because it is designed. It is well designed. It is designed in such a way that it doesn't need updates. SAS and Stata, you have updates. Why? Because it is not designed to do statistics. It implements individual isolated methods. So it's like this. You can do with SAS anything you want, so long as it has been prepared for you. Anything else, you write to SAS and they will think about it, and maybe in a year they will say, oh, now we have it. Now we have it as a new module, as a new procedure. That is not a scientific way to do anything. Scientific way is to sort of, somebody thought about what is it that we need to do in statistics? Then what is it that is likely to be needed in the future? How I can make learning computing easy? And the answer is that it has to be integrated with the curriculum. That you learn that sort of, you can't avoid mathematics here, yeah, because there are model equations, for instance, yeah? And there is maximum likelihood of ordinary squares, all kinds of mathematics. And now the idea is that the way you write the formulae on paper, that has to have a strong affinity of how you write that on the problem. So I do x transpose x for the matrix of cross products. So I have that in R, P of x, transpose of x, matrix multiplication x. Yeah? That sort of the two things correspond. Then I say, okay, here is a procedure. So I do this, this, and that. Yeah, that I can do that in R. So there's an easy correspondence. That makes it, if you had this application, if you are comfortable with these things, with matrices in particular, then R is easy. Yeah. So R is not for everybody. When I say I do everything in R. Yeah. So sometimes when I work for a client or I work with a student, they say, yeah, but I want to do it in my software. So I'll say, okay, let's do it in R, and then we translate. I don't think in any other software than in R. Yeah. So we develop. Now, graphics. Graphics is the sole point in any, except in R. Yeah. Why do we need good graphics? Because the saying is, a picture is 1,000 words. Yeah. So a good graphic will take you a long way. At the same time, don't try to have too many pictures, too many graphs. You think very hard what graph to have that will really help you continue. Yeah. So a graph takes a third of a page. And if you didn't have it, then you would have to have that much text. Yeah. Now, if you have a graph, yeah, let's say if you have a graph, then you still have to describe what it is. Yeah. So it's all a fight for space. Yeah. And sometimes the graph is the winner, but not always. Tables, I don't take seriously. Because tables are difficult to read. But still, sometimes tables are very useful. I think large tables are very useful. Yeah? Small tables will, yeah. Alright, so let's return to here. Alright, so let's talk first theme or topic, we start to write the thing. Well, what should be the theme? Well, it has to be something that you are interested in, that you have expertise, that you know. It's difficult to say, this is something interesting that I haven't heard. You can't start by writing paper. Start by studying the subject, yeah? By reading up what other people write about. Yeah? So the science of statistics is not just science. It's a lot of public relations, a lot of understanding how people communicate. Lot of where is the interest. Yeah. You write a paper, you want to have it published, it has to be reviewed, an editor, somebody has to like it. An editor is like a businessman says, I will publish a paper if it's good enough, but on top of that, I have 200 pages that I have to fill in, and I want to fill it in with material so that I would have 10,000 readers. Well, I would have 1,000 readers. Yeah. So now, in a journal, the editor thinks I need continuity. I can't have now something else completely different. Yeah. I need continuity in topics, in style, in perspective. So an editor, a good editor, writes what kind of papers do you want to publish? So today it's on the website so you better read it because the editor makes decisions. Yeah? The decision is made directly and indirectly. But the point is that if you are surprised when you read something, if you are really surprised, then you get confused. And if you get confused, then you don't get the content. If you get surprised and it says, oh, this is startling, that's different. So surprise is a very dangerous thing. If you are surprised all the time, you get confused. If you are surprised by something that you thought, that is an innovation. It's a fine line between something good in the paper and something not so good. But everything starts with this sort of context, that you know what journals are interested in, how they like papers written, and so on. So it's difficult to submit a paper to a journal when you don't read the journal, or you read it so that you would know. Alright, so these are elements of what's not scientific, prevailing opinions, what people think, what sort of your peers, what they think. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to think the same thing. It means that you have to understand that frame. Yeah? And you can argue, everybody is liberal and they say, okay, you think like this, here is a contradiction. Yeah? So you can work on these opinions and try to change them. But dismissing them that you should think something completely different, that doesn't work. Yeah? So you argue in a paper, and you argue on terms of the reader, of the prevailing opinion. Yeah? And innovation, or novelty, or what makes paper good, is that you point out that if you keep thinking like this, you'll end up in a black hole. And so you propose an adjustment of how we should think, because that will take you out of the black hole. Alright, so point 7. Let's move on a little bit to the practical things of a paper. So now, suppose you have some text. Yeah? Suppose you have some computing done. You have done some work that's presentable. So, title. Now, title has to say what the paper is about. If the title is too long, oh dear, so somebody reads it and they don't get to the end of the title. Yeah? Where you say every small detail of what you do. No. There's a lot of advantage to having a shorter title. Short title, so if I have, let's say, 10 words, I think even that is long. I have with me some papers. Yeah? I brought them not specifically for this presentation, but I can't remember why. So there are a few, I can leave them with you because they're very important. So here is one title, Comparing Two Treatments by Decision Theory. So this is 6 words, 1 line. Yeah? I can tell you what this is about. Yeah, but let's read for later. Yeah, another title. Decision Theory for Comparing Institutions. So this is 5 words. Yeah. Now I can think of a longer title, but I thought no, this will. So the keywords here are comparing institutions, which means for hospitals. How do you assess how good is a hospital? Yeah. And decision theory is okay. That's a sort of general subject. Yeah. So I have just 2 terms here. Yeah. So I think this appears. Here is an example not so good. sample size calculation for comparing two normal random samples using equilibrium trials. Yeah? Now, this is a bit too long, and the risk here is that it's in 2 lines, you read the first line and you had enough. Yeah? So I just don't know what to drop from this. Yeah? So sample size calculation, that how big should be the study? For comparing two normal random samples. Or with that I could think about here. It's okay. So that's another part, and the third part is using equilibrium trials. Equilibrium trials. Yes. What are the equilibrium trials? Anyway, so now I think this is not such a good example. They are all my papers. Yeah, but the performance of local polynomial estimates in generalized Poisson regression model. The word regression model is always regression. Yeah, so model is a redundant word. The performance of, well, when you talk about the model, estimation, yeah, performance is everything. So performance is redundant. Yeah? So I would say local polynomial estimates in generalized Poisson regression. Okay? And I haven't touched the content. Yeah? I said exactly the same thing. So these are just redundant words because when you have estimates, yeah, so you assess. Yeah? You don't just derive the formula from them, you assess how good they are. So that you are looking at the performance, it's nothing, it's zero. Yeah? That's understood. When you have estimates, you want to provide some evidence that they perform well, and they're efficient. So that you don't need them in the title, and then the title is shorter, and it's still. Yeah? Now, okay, so that's title. Yeah? So the title can be incomplete. That's no problem. Yeah? I can think of what's incomplete here, or what's incomplete in one of the papers. Yeah? Because yes, I can say more, but it's distracting. Yeah, yeah, it's distracting. That is when you lose your focus when you read. Yeah? Because here is a title, but somebody is looking at hundreds of titles to locate what I should read. All right, so let's carry on reading. So the second part is the abstract. Yeah, the second thing to look at is abstract. It says a brief statement of the main contribution to entice the reader to continue reading. Yeah? So, the most successful industry in the United States and the UK is advertising. Yeah? It's very disagreeable that advertising is a pollution, it's a form of pollution. When somebody tells me that this car is better than that, yeah, that is pollution, because that is a lie. Yeah? That is a misunderstanding that we have different needs, different perspectives, and so on. Yeah? So every advertising involves a lie. Now, to an extent, in a paper, you do a bit of lying, because you want to make it more attractive than it really is. Yeah. So advertising is disagreeable, but at the same time it's necessary to a small extent. So the abstract is a form of advertising, is a form of indicating what is it that's great in the paper. Now, if it's long, you can't have a commercial for 3 minutes. Because it's expensive and you lose focus. Yeah? Good advertising is for 15 seconds with a clear message and scientist, you have to have integrity, you have to say the truth. In a commercial, you don't have to, or there are different rules, and frequently you don't. But you can't talk to me about Ford car for more than 15 seconds, otherwise I'll just go away. Yeah? So there is something similar in an abstract. It has to be short, to the point, without redundancy, yeah, and it can still be incomplete. Yeah, there are a few other things that I'm doing, but it's not here. So let's compare this and this. Let's compare the length of the paper. Well, that's difficult because it's a different font. Yeah. So here I have 2, 4, 6 lines. Yeah. And 6 lines are in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sentences. Yeah. Okay? What about here? Now the lines can't be compared, but how many sentences? Local polynomial estimates are known as advantages. Now this is wrong English. Local polynomial estimates have advantages. You know, you don't say that they are known to have advantages, yeah, because what you say is normal, it's not normal. So let the reader decide whether it's normal or not, yeah. So sort of, you know, cut out the impression and focus on fact. So local polynomial estimates have advantages over other smoothing techniques in non-parametric regression modeling. Now, I would say in non-parametric regression modeling is probably redundant if I want to make it shorter, because it is implied. Smoothing is non-parametric. Yeah? Yeah? You agree? Yeah? Okay? So sort of, you know, it all can be cut short. Yeah? And I read it for the first time, I think I read this before. Yeah? Take this seriously. You know, just have a look at it several times, and you can always find improvement. Yeah. So there is a saying: best is the enemy of good. If you keep improving all the time, that's not the same thing either. Yeah. But every piece of writing for an anonymous audience, for people you don't know who is going to read this, it needs on the whole a lot of attention, several times looking at it, several people looking at it, yeah, and then you find that okay, somebody says no, this is good, somebody says it's not good, yeah, and it needs your critical assessment. This change, is it going to make things better? Yeah. So how does it work? Well, if I suggest something, don't just take it automatically. Critically evaluate whether it is the case. Yeah. When I did it first time, the suggestion I had is maybe sort of obvious. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that till now it is perfect. No. Make the change, keep it in your desk for a few days, maybe for a week, and have another look at it, and then we'll see, maybe. Yeah. Because I read the first sentence and I had something to say, but then if I read the whole abstract, then I may suggest reorganizing. Yeah? So we didn't get to that. Yeah? So sort of, you know, let's change the perspective. The perspective is I don't like when I get it wrong. The alternative perspective is everything is wrong. Absolutely everything is wrong. Certain things are more wrong than others. Yeah? So if it's completely perfect, that is sterile. That's not nice either. Yeah? But on the whole, we err on the side of this should be improved. So it's not just getting it perfect, no, never perfect. It's getting the right balance of amount of attention to the paper, amount of attention, because the more and more you revise, the less and less time you have for some other things. So there's another sort of form of balance. But on the whole, I would suggest, especially if you start just err on the side of more attention, more revision, more times, and so on. Okay, so look, I read another sentence from this. It is mathematically intuitive and simple, and also has the capability of making inferences for the estimator of the regression function by constructing confidence bands. I think this sentence is too long and there's very little content. Yeah? That, for instance, constructing confidence bands, well, you can construct it for anything if you have estimate and standard error. Yeah, because it's estimate minus 2 standard errors, estimate plus 2 standard errors. There are more sophisticated ways of doing this, but I think that's what is meant here. You know, there's not much being said at the beginning. At the beginning, you are fighting for the reader to keep his attention. So you have to come up with important things to say. Yeah? And that it's mathematically intuitive. Well, what's mathematically intuitive is intuitive, and so of course it's mathematics when you apply smoothing. Yeah? Smoothing is that. Okay, do you know what smoothing? Roughly speaking, you have this. You have a curve that has and now you smooth it. Yeah? But you have several degrees of smoothing. Yeah? So that's smoothing, and so there are parametric methods of smoothing, but most smoothing is non-parametric.
Can I show them
Yes.
Can I talk to you at the point of
Oh, I see. Oh, so you can project it. Yeah.
Look now at the stage.
So look, I mean, let's read this. I mean, it sounds like my head of department comes home from an overseas trip and talks to the secretary. And the talk is like this. You didn't do this. You didn't ask. Yeah? It's all what I call abuse. Now, with that paper, I'm sorry, you have to take that sort of abuse. Yeah? Because there's no publication behind it. But also, let's just read the publication. Because it's not just publication, it is also information, communication. Yeah? So you don't have to worry about whether it's published or not. Just worry about writing it up so that others could read it. Yeah? And others could read it to their benefit. Alright, so not for contrast, but I'll read the first sentence from my paper. Decision theory is applied to the general problem of comparing two treatments in an experiment with subjects assigned to treatment at random. Now I think this is a bit long, yeah? But so what does it say? Decision theory, then is applied. Comparing two treatments in an experiment. Yeah? And then subjects assigned to treatment at random. So the treatment at random should be left out because it's implied by experiment. So this was published in Pharmaceutical Statistics, but I can still sort of think about how to and maybe I thought a bit about the particular context, pharmaceutical statistics, that it is for companies that do pharmaceutical research, and that it's a worthwhile emphasis of experiment and treatment at random. And it goes on, and And the last sentence, sample size calculation for studies intended to be analyzed by this approach is also discussed. So the last sentence is, oh, and I do also this. I won't read the middle, but think about it like this. And maybe that you start to indicate what it is, then you give a highlight, then a bit more, and then sort of, just as the reader is going to sleep, then you do this. Yeah? Then you say, oh, and by the way, I'm also doing that. Yeah? So it's both modesty and maintaining the focus. The reader listens, reads. Yeah? Okay? So that dynamic is sort of, and of course it's my own personal perception. So it's not like there's one way to write a paper. Do you know that? Yeah, there's all sorts of ways, but for me it's difficult to talk about the general way of how to write a paper because it's a science on its own. Yeah? So the best deal I can offer is my perspective, how I think about it, and so on. Alright, so we're done? Okay, so we could do more about this. Yeah. Alright, so it is mathematically intuitive and simple, and also has can also also has the capability or capacity, yeah, of making inference. I would leave that sentence out completely. Yeah, or let's do this. Let's put it aside, and maybe it will be useful elsewhere. For instance, it will go into the introduction to make the abstract shorter. Okay. The performance of local polynomial estimates depends on the bandwidth. Now here the word performance is relevant because it says that how good is the estimator depends on the bandwidth. Yeah? It depends on the bandwidth or smoothing parameter and degree of polynomial used in the model. So there is yes, because they are called yes. P lowercase, that's not capital. Yeah, that should be low. Okay, so this sentence I think is fine, but I don't know how to improve it. Yeah. In this research, we studied. Okay, I'll stop here. This is a sort of, this is a custom, and it reads nicely when you have the whole paper in the same grammatical tense. Grammatical tenses I study, I study. Switching is not good unless there's a good reason. Yeah? So, in this paper, in this research, yeah, that's not useful. Yeah? So, we study the performance. Yeah, so I don't study, I assess. Yeah? Or but fair enough, it's just a different verb. Yeah? Study is inconclusive, assess is conclusive. Yeah? Because assess means that I come up with an assessment. Study means, well, let's see what I can do. So study is modest, assessment is less modest, but more clinical. Yeah? That's... So we study the performance of local. Oh, all right. This is not nice. The performance again. Yeah. No, this is not nice. So you say the performance here, but then this you can make shorter. We assess these estimates. Yeah, because by now it's clear that it's polynomial estimates, so you can make it shorter. Yeah, so we assess these estimates. Yeah. Oh, and again, no, that's all right. That's all right because it's not here. Yeah? So we assess these estimates in polynomial regression. Model, no, you don't need. Yeah. Yeah. model lowercase with count response. No, everybody knows that parson is count. So no. Yeah? Okay? It sounds sort of like demeaning. Yeah? That you say, you tell somebody that we are playing football with a ball. No, you can't do football without a ball. Oh yes, and I forgot to tell you that we also have goalposts. Yeah. So here you have to be compact. So you say we are playing football. That's it. Yeah. And it's understood that there will be goalposts, there will be white lines, and so on. Yes. Yeah. Okay. And 45 minutes.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right. But look, take it seriously. Yeah. That these are important things that are relatively easy to fix. Some simulation study. No. Simulation study or simulation studies. Okay, this is an error. Singular, plural. Okay. Yeah. So simulation studies are conducted. Now, I think this is, this is not news that you do it by every square area. Yeah. So I would say we assess this by simulations. Okay? Yeah. And now it is 2 sentences in one, without having it any longer. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because the details of simulations, how we assess, I don't think that is the important part to say up front. Yeah? There's no novelty in it, and there's no surprise or no, yeah, so, okay, which is the average of square differences between. No, that is a definition that is for later. Yeah? But all this can be left out. We assess by simulations. Nice short sentence and it says so. Okay, so based on the simulation study, no, because you just mentioned the simulation study. So we found that the estimator performed quite well. No, read that out. Just say, and we need to not use. Okay, so what are the important things here? That it performed well, and we. Okay, so I would say that we don't need to use high degree of polynomial. Yeah, we don't. Yeah. So that's an important message. Yeah. So we say that even a complex regression curve. So I would say even a complex regression curve can be represented by polynomials of low degree or of degree 1 or 2.
Sir,
Yeah. Yes.
it's okay in scientific journal we use words like pronouns like I, we.
Yeah. Okay, I'll come to that. The general thing is be consistent. Don't switch I and we. Use one. I always use we. Yeah. One reason for it is that the paper is reviewed anonymously. Anonymous means, I will have a summary. Anonymous means that I'm the writer, I'm the author. I do not know who is the referee. But also, the referee doesn't know who is your terms. You introduce and you use them consistently. You may say that some use this term, but you use the same term throughout. Yeah. And the reason is avoid confusion, improve information.
Nicholas,
Yes.
you said that you have to use the same tenses all
Yes.
through the.
Yeah.
Which tenses is?
Oh,
Because
look.
you were
Look,
used or
I always use present
present.
because I learned English and go for simplicity. Yeah. But the other one is, so now that I've used present all the time, one advantage of present is that it reads like you are working with the reader. We study means there's a company that we sit down and we study together. We study means I had a look at it, now it's your turn. It makes you isolated. Yeah? We study means we sit down together, that as you read the text, that is the process of study. We found, or we come to the conclusion. Yeah? Now that is logically in the past tense. I concluded it before. Yeah? But I prefer to say we conclude to indicate that together, me who write it and you who read it, we will arrive at the point. We will apply, no, we apply one or fewer words. So now sometimes you have to use past tense because it's a reference to something else. Yeah, to something in the past. For instance, the presidential elections in 2004 were and so on. These are,
How
so
about it?
that's an example. That's an
Yeah.
example of an exception.
Like past tense, like for example, like somebody like Longford et al. Studied that to
Now-
explain that somebody have done this before.
No, even that could be in present tense because the paper was written in 2004. But when you read it, yeah, or sort of, it was written in 2004, but the conclusion is still the same. Yeah, I don't like to say that we concluded or they concluded, or because it sounds like the conclusion doesn't apply anymore.
Doesn't exist anymore. Yeah.
Yeah? No, that I don't like. Or we concluded, or somehow because we did the study last year. I don't like that. I want to indicate that the conclusion is more universal, still valid today. So that it's the combination of simplicity and appeal, present tense, unless it is misleading. Yeah. All right. So you want to read more, or can I switch to my notes? Yeah. So we have title, abstract, and now, all right, there are the keywords. Keywords should be few, and today they are important for the paper is classified according to them, so we can search through it. Don't put in terms that are common. So, for instance, in this paper, I would exclude the means better. I would say what's important. General Poisson model. General Poisson regression. Yeah, that would be the answer. And I have to take it here. So local polynomial, yes. Non-parametric regression, yes. Count response, no, because you have generalized Poisson distribution. It's not generalized Poisson distribution, it's generalized Poisson regression. Yeah, okay. Average square error, no. Smoothing technique or smoothing methods, yes. Okay? Alright, so that's done. Now, a formality, A formality is that you acknowledgement that's either at the beginning or at the end of the paper, and you acknowledge what? Who assisted you, who inspired you, who gave you money, grant, who you can, I don't like doing that because it's so condescending, but I say if the referees really helped you a lot, then you acknowledge that. Say, so funding, assistance, who read the paper and who gave you some feedback, agreements, by that I mean that sometimes you do an analysis and you have to receive an agreement from the data source that you can write about. Yeah? So an example, I don't have it here, but the paper that is waiting for publication, and it's about the.
It's like consent, you mean, right? Consent.
One sentence, yes, it's a short. So an example of it is that permission to publish details of the data set are have been granted by and so on. Yeah. So I mentioned this this project that I work on, assessment of hospitals. How good are hospitals? That's confidential data. Yeah. And I I had asked for permission. Okay, I received the permission, and I acknowledge that I have the permission. Yeah. So that is a formality, but it's I would say it's yeah. All right. So let's go to the next page. So now we talk about the main body of the paper.
Nicholas, can I ask one question? Regarding keywords, what is the importance of keywords?
The key,
and then why you should pick the nice keywords? Yeah.
Okay, so the importance of keywords is that sometimes some readers. So look, at the moment you are fighting for the reader. The reader has a look at the title, and you have a look at the title and say, oh, not interesting. Yeah? Somebody has a look at the keywords. But these days everything is electronic. And electronic means that you can look for papers which use a particular keyword. Yeah? So you specify the keywords in such a way that your paper would be selected exactly when you want. That's the role of the keywords in the work.
Carlos.
Yes.
Maybe I missed about the early so now. What novelty?
Oh, I mean, I have to read a bit more. Yeah. I would say, whether there's novelty in this. Well, it is difficult, whatever, because local polynomials, that's nothing. Generalized classical regression, what is generalized? What is, I would say that is just generalized linear model. Yeah? Okay, this is more than just regression. Yeah? So that may be novelty, but okay, so look, I would have to read out.
Or maybe you can give us tips to find novelty in our systems.
Now, my tip is this sounds awfully selfish, but I can tell you about my papers. What is the novelty? What is the appeal? Yeah, it's something interesting that I have. Yeah. So, it's not necessarily a novelty. So look, I can give you a general theme of novelty. You want to decide about the hospital whether it's good or not. Yeah. So at the hospital you have treated 273 patients, and and it recorded success with 217. So is this good or not? The answer is, you compare that, 270 divided by 73, you compare it with the rate for the whole country. Yeah? Okay? So there's no big science, you all agree that this would be. Now, how do you do the comparison? And I think you will say, oh, well, we test the hypothesis. Now, here comes the novelty. I think that hypothesis test is a very, very bad idea. Yeah? Why? Because first, you say 0.05. Why 0.05? Do you know? Well, look, I mean, I'm good. So this is something important. A hospital is an important service. Yeah, it's an important business. Yeah. If I make an assessment, yeah, you know, there's sort of doctors, highly educated people, management and all that. Well, the minimum is that the assessment has integrity. And now the assessment depends on a convention, 0.05. Well, that is not right. Okay, let me carry on. So, with hypothesis test, we control error of one kind, yeah, 0.05. I don't know. What about the error of the other kind? Well, that depends on how big is the hospital. What's it like? I would like to have the two errors in a balance. So think about two hospitals being put there. One has 500 patients and the other one has 100 patients. If I have 0.05 for both of them, then the power, the 1 minus, the probability of the other kind of error is not in balance. The small hospital is much bigger than for the but the hospitals effectively compete for who is better and who is not. Okay. So this is the argument to dismiss hypothesis testing, and this is the source of novelty. And now the novelty is in the title, is decision theory. And the decision theory is this. Let's sit down and talk seriously about making errors. I don't want to control error probabilities, I want to manage them. And management means, roughly speaking, this. If I make an error of one kind, or let's put it differently, I have to decide who is bad, who is good, and who is satisfactory. When I go outside, and I want to cross the road, why is it that I don't test the hypothesis? You know, the hypothesis is that I will safely cross the road. Why not 0.05? And the answer is, I hope you sort of, you know, I know that you don't have the answer, but I hope, you know, I'm trying to appeal to you, and I hope that you'll agree. The reason why you take it seriously is because you understand the consequences of the two kinds of error. One consequence is a car is coming and you're dead, yeah, or seriously injured. You understand the consequences. Yeah? The other kind is that I could have been there and I'm still here. So effectively, you lose a moment of your life. Because you could have made a progress, but you didn't. You could have crossed because there was no traffic, but you didn't. Okay? So in this case, you understand the consequences, and you know that your decision is informed by the consequences. In hypothesis testing, there are no consequences. That is disagreeable. That is bad science. That is a science that doesn't reflect how we do things when we do things rationally. So that makes hypothesis testing not rational. Probability is not everything. also the consequences matter. So how do I implement the consequences? I implement it like this. I have a committee of the clinical people and of, we call them stakeholders. So the committee is there's somebody from the Northern Network, which is an organization of hospitals in Northern England. So the hospital care is organized hierarchically. That you have hospitals. Hospitals are within regions. And that's it. Yeah. The regional organization is important because some hospitals are small, some are large, some have capacity to do things, some don't. So when you get a patient and it turns out that the patient needs something else, the patient is transferred within the region. Yeah? Okay? So it is meaningful to assess a region, but okay, so there's somebody from the region, there's somebody from HWIP, which is the organization that is in charge of healthcare quality. There's somebody from some other organization which looks at how much things cost. Yeah. Then there's a parent representative. So my area is neonatal care. So there's a parent who had a baby in neonatal care. Yeah. So the idea is collect as much variety of expertise and perspective and views and so on. Yeah. And now we discuss this. Suppose the hospital is declared, is judged as bad, and the judgment is wrong. You know? What is the damage? Okay? How much harm have I done? This is not an error because I'm incompetent. This is an error of statistical nature. Okay? So we go through the fine details of what is the error made. What are the consequences of the error? Then we go the other way around. This hospital was judged to be satisfactory, but it's really not. It should have been that it's below. Now we don't know which hospital is which. Yeah? All we know is the judgment. We don't know the truth. But we can talk about what are the consequences. Yeah? So we've done that. Now next is that we quantify it. We'll say this is 5 times more serious than that, or 10 times, or 50 times. Okay? Yeah? So so my argument is, and this is the novelty, that this is not a methodological novelty. This is novelty in application and perspective. So I'm saying that this should be a recipe, that we should talk to client so that they go and I call them client. And it's a difficult exercise, but don't try to argue with me that it's redundant. Because they all have a stake in this and they agree that we should make these errors rare and these errors can be so we can afford to have them more. Okay, so is this novelty? It is. But the novelty is that this has been forgotten and it has been applied in a different context. The novelty is in a field that it should be applied also here, that it should be applied universally. You know? So in a more popular way of writing, I talk about hypothesis test as a steam engine, as a statistical steam engine. You know what's a steam engine?
Split, what is it? Stinging.
Steam engine. You know,
Steam engine.
like in the 19th century, the trains went on steam.
The first.
Yeah? So why? So why is the comparison? The comparison is because steam engines were a fantastic invention. Yeah? it was a revolution. It was a momentous revolution which enabled fast transportation of people and goods from here to there. Yeah? With a speed of, sort of in some cases, 100 kilometers an hour. Where before that you had the horse, which does 10 kilometers an hour, and then it needs a rest. Yeah? Whereas the steam engine would do 100 kilometers an hour, and then another 100 kilometers an hour, and maybe after 3 or 4 hours, it needs replenishing. Okay? So that's why I'm talking about it. It's a great invention. But then they discovered the combustion engine. And so about hypothesis test, I say, oh, it was a great invention, a great success. But times have moved on. And it's not fit for the purpose anymore. And the right place of hypothesis test, yes, it should be in the curriculum, it should be taught, but with the understanding that this is a piece of history of the subject. It shouldn't be taught with the purpose of, and now go and apply it. No, it should be taught of, please understand this. This is an important piece of the history, but the method belongs to a museum. It's not fit for today, because everybody, everything is about making decisions, about choices, about shall we go this way or that way. Yeah? And we don't make that based on probability, or rather, probability is not everything. And hypothesis is about probabilities. You have to consider what are the consequences. And now, so even in a paper which is focused on methods, I say, I analyze the issue that this is not a technical problem. Yeah, okay, it involves some integration and some whatever. The problem is not technical. The problem is cultural. It's of culture. That we say that every analysis is objective. I disagree. Okay, I agree that it's objective, but I'm saying that it could be improved by being subjective. And subjective means that I serve the purpose of a particular client. A lawyer, a solicitor is subjective because it represents a client. Yeah? Even as a professional, if I were a professional lawyer, yeah, in court, and my client is a murderer, yeah, I still try to understand the murderer, why, what were the motives and so on. And within that, I try to get as low a sentence as possible. That is the but I'm not trying to lie, because if I lie, I will be discredited and I do harm to my client. Yeah? Yeah? So in medical sciences, if I am a doctor, I represent the healthcare interest of my patient. Part of that is I explain to the patient the alternatives, find out how to do this. In cancer treatment, there's a lot of this because it's a horrible procedure, yeah? And so it is you really delve into the person's perspective. You may be cured, but you won't have a life like you had before. And the actual cure will leave traces and so on. With treatment of sick babies, it's even worse. So, there are serious ethical issues on and the perspective of the patient and parents. It's very important. Now, I think, and now here there's a very general message, I think that view, that perspective has to be rolled into statistics. The methods you apply are objective. But they have to be tailored. The results or the application is subjective. it is for a particular time. In a different setting, the result will be different. And so the culture is that you have to sensitize the client to this, that this is an important input into the statistical analysis. Because at present it isn't. Yeah. So is this innovation? Is this no? It is a different perspective. But it is good enough to that it could be, I have several papers on the subject, so I interpret it as, they think that this is useful, and I'm a bit partisan. I say, it's definitely useful, it changes the practice. It is supported by there are many special issues, or there are few special issues on the subject of what should you do with hypothesis testing. So one example of it is in the American Statistician. There are about 40 articles in a special issue, and they discuss all sorts of aspects and of this. Whether we should continue with using hypothesis testing, whether we should replace it with something else, whether we should use it more critically, and so on, and how to address the issues when we have many hypothesis tests. And so I have a very strong view on this, and that is, it has absolutely no place in modern statistical practice. Yeah. Now, even people who don't agree with this, and think other people don't, they say, no, this is an important contribution to the general discussion, and hopefully, in the future, we'll sort out how to do it. Yeah. Or we may even have plurality, but there is agreement that just answering every problem with the result of the hypothesis test is not good for the profession, it's not good for it is a sort of the practice, it's not a good practice. Okay, so I leave it there, and so I leave it for you to check. Oh, is this innovation? Well, innovation is a big word. Yeah. Okay. So in the main body of the manuscript, so we start with the introduction. Now you don't have to have exactly the same names for the sections, but at the beginning you start from zero. Yeah. So start with motivation. Why should I read this? What is the importance? So you say, okay, this particular problem is addressed by several papers in the past, and you can cite them, and it's of importance because you want to get rich, because you want to be healthy, and so on. Yeah, but more specifically. Yeah. So then you review the literature. I don't like reviewing literature because you can write a paper which reviews the literature, yeah, and assesses whatever, sort of, which has a historical element. Yeah? So you review the literature, but it doesn't have to be a complete review. Yeah, it could be something compact which talks about the papers on which you draw, which are close to what you are going to present. Yeah? Now, just say that this is done and that is done. It's always better to add your view to it. Yeah? The views that you express, they don't have to be agreeable to everybody. Yeah? They don't have to be. They just have to have integrity. That you really mean what you say, and that what you present later is in line with the criticism, or with the agreement, or with the view that you present. Yeah? So, the content has to be concise and rich, and the richness comes from expressing your view. And the view is connected to, so why do I do whatever? I do whatever follows, or what is the main contribution of it. I do it because I do not agree with the past. Or I agree that others have pointed out that this needs addressing. Yeah? So you may disagree, but also you may point out that somebody said that this solution, okay, it's a progress on something, but it still has this problem. Yeah? So in that case, you don't even disagree, you just take up what is on offer. An offer was, well, an offer was this corner kick. Yeah? And so the corner kick could be kicked in such a way that the ball spins, yeah, towards the goal, and so the goalkeeper doesn't know what to do. Yeah? Okay. So somebody said, oh, this would be good to solve, but I don't know how to solve it. Yeah? And you come, oh, I know how to do this. Okay, so that is a genuine case of innovation, and you point it out up front, because that advertises what you do. That says, read on because I have something that they said that would be useful to have, and they didn't have it. Yeah? Okay. So that's this. Highlight the main achievements. We had a joke about this. You know, when mobile phones came about, everybody had a mobile phone, and it was the big deal of sort of what music comes and I don't have a mobile phone because I have to focus on it. Yeah? And so I think very hard how to embarrass the student when the mobile goes off. Yeah? So I say, that must be the pizza, if you understand. No? I thought you would laugh at this. Yeah? That food is ordered by mobile. Yeah? And the pizza company is calling for some deliveries here. Yeah? Yeah? So, I beg you, do you remember when there was no phone? Well, when I was a child, we didn't have a phone. The phone comes in my life from late 1960s. Yeah? And we were all right. The problem wasn't information. The problem was something else. Yeah? And then we had the phone, whatever. Yeah? I really hated it because I operated in a foreign language. Somebody calls me, I don't understand. But I don't understand because I'm stupid. I don't understand because I'm focusing on something else. Yeah? So I say, I'll give an answer. So I'll call you back. Yeah? I have to think about it. Yeah? Well, that's stupid. Don't give me the answer straight away. I don't. I'm focusing on something else. An email is fantastic. When you have responsibility, yeah, when you are responsible, then those who write to you, they are comfortable, they know that you will respond within a few hours. They send you one email, and maybe a day later they send you a reminder, if it's a straightforward question. But the point is, quality of communication means that I type it, I have a look, I think about whether it can be understood right, yeah, and that's it. Yeah? And it's without these common English words or phrases which are everywhere in papers which I hate. Like, as I said earlier, it is noteworthy, it is very important, it's interesting to me, and therefore, and so on. Look at your papers, get rid of them, and let me quickly do it. It's something with teenagers, but teenagers are now grown up and they say, you know like this, and you know, and you. No, I don't. Either you say, and then I know, or you don't say, and then I don't. You don't have to remind me that you know. No. Okay, so mobile. Turn the mobile off. Oh yes, the other problem is that students smoke, and you can't go on for more than 50 minutes. there is a smoke. And I need, I like when students smoke during the break, because I'm an old man, and in a few years' time, I will retire. When people smoke, they buy cigarettes, they pay a lot in taxes, in duties. Duties go to the government, and the government pays my pension. Yeah? So I encourage all young people to smoke, and if they drink alcohol, that's even better, because the taxes on alcohol are extremely high. Yeah? Yeah, okay? Yeah? So, mobile phone, look, that's a pollution. Yeah? That's pollution. Because everything can wait for a few minutes, yeah? Turn it off. Yeah? Or even better, make a good joke. Alright, so let's carry on. So you highlight the main achievements and the most important unsolved issues. Yeah? Because you say, okay, some of it I'm now addressing. Yeah? Okay, summary of the paper's content. This is important because sort of now you have, if the reader got this far, then you have a committed reader, somebody who sort of has invested in this. So now you can say, okay, now I'll do this and that and so on. You can also indicate, I will do it this way, that way, and so on. So you indicate the steps. I'll read from this paper. I'm not sure whether I can't remember, so maybe if I don't find them, I'll try. Alright, okay. Yeah, it's a bit long paragraph, but it's the end of section 1. Yeah, but you don't have a copy, but you're welcome, I believe it in it. The next section gives a concise background to decision theory. More detailed treatment of this topic can be found, and there are references. That's the first sentence, the first two sentences, and they say decision theory. And that is like the important part of the paper, and I'm saying this should be applied. It's not new, I'm just giving a concise summary and references to, as it refresh, so to set things in context. Okay, then so this was next section, section 2. Still about the section. The section introduces losses that characterize the consequences of the two kinds of error. So this is what I said earlier. What's the harm done? Oh, so let me give you an example which will really bring it home. You have a program in healthcare for text. Yeah. So an example of it is in Britain there is a program of testing for a particular cancer, for colon cancer. It is every person between ages of 55 and 60 is invited for the test, or is sent the test kit, and then it is sent again every 5 years. Now, the test has two outcomes. You are healthy and you are not healthy. And so it has two kinds of error. One error is false positive. I tell you, you have the condition, but it's incorrect statement. It's an incorrect statement. Or I tell you that you are fine, whereas you're not. Now the purpose of the test is, if you find the condition earlier, it's easy to treat. Easy treatment means what? It's cheap, it's reliable, the treatment is easy and it's not invasive. Yeah, you know, you can go about to your everyday life. You just have to take a pill, go for an injection and so on. Yeah. Because if the condition is found later, then the treatment is much more complicated, much more unpleasant, and it's not necessary, and it's the probability or chance of success are lower. Yeah? So that's why we do testing, or this testing program. Yeah? We do it because we really want to save money and better health and so on. By discovering the condition earlier, then it's easy to treat. Yeah? So now consider the two kinds of error. One is that you are told that you have the condition, so what is the result? Anxiety, you make plans that are inappropriate, plans are such that, well, I'm not going to work, because I will be ill, yeah? Because I will treat it, or whatever, yeah? Okay, so, you know, yeah. So that's one side. Continue. The hospital staff or the healthcare staff will be engaged in doing something they don't have to. So they spend resources that we better spend on something more useful. Okay? So these are the losses. The other side is, if the other side is a false negative. If you have the condition and I told you that you don't, now that is a complete disaster, because the testing program was exactly to avoid this. So now we can talk intelligently about what are the consequences. Yeah? So one consequence is far more serious than the other. Yeah? And so, you know, I'll skip the details, but so that is, yeah? And my argument is that how to organize a testing program should take this into account. Part of it is that, well, if you don't discover it now, maybe even in 5 years' time at the next round, maybe that's still not too late. So that you can afford to have errors. Yeah? But it's not about, you know, you can't get rid of errors, but balance. You have a balance to get the best deal out of the procedure, out of this procedure that is involved. Okay. So the same argument is for hypothesis testing. How should we do it to get the best deal? Alright, so summary of the paper's content. So it goes on, yeah, and I'll skip a few parts, and I say section 7 deals with the design of clinical trials. And following it, a set of examples is analyzed in section 8. The concluding section summarizes our objections to hypothesis testing and contrasts them with the strength of our proposal. So this is an advertising, a summary of what I believe is the most important in the paper. But this section is important to help decide whether is it worth reading. And when I read it, it's always better to know what is it that's coming. State briefly the main contribution. So the main contribution is there, the last sentence that I read. That I have objection to hypothesis testing in this particular case, yeah, and I explain or I summarize why. Yeah. So that's this, and it's done in one sentence. Indicate the rationale for the organization of the manuscript. Why do we do it in a particular way? Yeah. I mean, so, you know, sometimes it's obvious, but not always. Say in papers that I have contributed recently, medical sciences, the journal editor has a statement of how a paper should be organized. So then fair enough. But where you have more freedom means responsibility. So you should say something, why is it organized in a particular way, unless it's obvious. So that is this point. Alright, and now we come to the number 11, follow journal's convention. Now, it's one thing. The journal has a statement, yeah, that says, please write the paper like this. Yeah, please obey these conventions. Examples of conventions are how the equations are numbered, how the references are. But there are more, how the sections are numbered or they are not numbered and so on. Footnotes. In general, you shouldn't have footnotes. So the journal has conventions. There are conventions about how to introduce acronyms, abbreviations. Yeah, so every time you say this, you have to say, when you first use an acronym, you have to give the full name. If the full name is in a different language, then you say it's translation into English. Yeah? So these are the kind of conventions. Long list.
Well, as you said, when we already mentioned the abbreviation, for example, in the abstract, do we need
Yes,
leave it
that's
in
part
the-
of. I don't know. I don't know what I would do. I don't like to have abbreviations in the abstract. Yeah, in general, but sometimes it's unavoidable. I don't know what I would do. I think I would do. But look, if you make one bunch of one less, just sort of when you disobey many of the conventions that you have done. Yeah? Now, conventions are to be broken. When there's a good reason, good rationale to break a convention, and can't do it frivolously. Okay. Alright, so more about the main. So an article or a piece of writing has a front matter, main body, and back matter. The front matter is title, abstract, keywords, and the back matter is references, appendices, maybe also acknowledgement, depends on and the rest is the main matter, the most important part of the paper. So these are some general comments that sometimes they don't apply. So one is that the paper should be self-contained. Self-contained means that when you read it, you don't have to read anything else other than the references. Yeah, other than you specifically point out that, oh, have a look at that for further background. Yeah? Now, this is difficult to judge, and it depends on sort of lots of things. What is self-contained? But it has to have an element of this that you don't assume, in a statistical paper, that you don't assume that somebody knows how the education system in a country is organized. Yeah? Because it's not part of the expertise of a statistician, so there has to be mentioned there. And this is part of the self-contained nature. In healthcare, so in papers that use applications from healthcare, from medicine, but sometimes how the healthcare system is organized. So there are huge differences, say, even if you know the United States. In the United Kingdom, the healthcare is a national enterprise. It's sort of uniformly funded, and the whole insurance system is uniformly funded. Whereas in the United States, it's private. In some studies, it's important to know. So when it's important to know, it has to be there, even if it's not a business of statistics. Okay, so there's this. Signposting. Indicate what is coming. Now, you would appreciate this in mathematics. If you have a proof that goes up for a page, say, okay, I do this, and I do that, and so it's very useful if you say in advance, this is how we are going to do it. Yeah, and then come the steps. So, in any paper, this is useful. You say up front that this is the way how you are going to do it. Yeah, that's what signposting. And the word comes from, if you are driving to Surabaya, then you have a look at the map and you say, okay, I'll take the route A17 for 200 kilometers, and then I turn, that's signposting. And there are the signposts. So you need something in a paper, you can call it a roadmap. Yeah? That it helps, it helps to, it prepares the reader so there are no surprises, there are few surprises. It makes it easier to read. Because, okay, now it's this and this is that, so I'm ready, I'm mentally ready for the next part. Okay? So these are not artificial rules. These are rules to help the reader stick to reading. Reading a paper is difficult, and these are devices to make it easier. Build up the technical development. So you could just say, okay, this is my invention and that's it. Yeah? Build up means step by step, so that it's like you take the reader's hand and we go together. Yeah? That is the idea. So that you don't jump, you go once, and others, and others. So go with you, and as you read, it's comfortable. Yeah? So anticipate points of contention. You know what's a point of contention? It's a point in argument where you think that others may disagree. Now, even a reader who agrees will appreciate if you deal with this point, because they want to have a clearer view, clear insight. They want to gain the capacity to argue the case. So even if somebody agrees with me the hypothesis test is a bad idea, they may appreciate if I elaborate the reasons. Because among the reasons, there may be some that he hasn't thought about, that he or she didn't know how to express, or expressed it differently. Yeah? So it enriches the ability to argue. Okay? So that's here. Anticipate the points of contention, issues that may not be clear or are counterintuitive. So points where this sounds strange, the reader would say. Yeah? And you say, this sounds strange, but I have a different perspective on it. Yeah? So something is strange, but then it becomes less strange. If you want an example, is this. Okay, let me draw a picture of this. So I have two groups, let's say two countries. And I do regression of X on Y. Let's say X is prosperity and Y is educational achievement. Now I need two colors. So let's take one country. In one country, there is a strong association of X with Y. So you could draw a regression. Yeah. Now let's take another country. Another country is more prosperous. Bigger X. And also a strong association. So you could draw a regression. Alright, so we have two regressions. Yeah? We can put them into one by analysis of covariance. Now somebody thinks, clever. Can't I just analyze the averages in the two countries? So the average is this. Average of X and average of Y, that's somewhere here. Alright, so before I go. So I have these two regressions and I could say, okay, we'll do analysis of covariance. And analysis of covariance says that we have this direction, and then we have sort of the two countries differ from this average regression. And there's some, yeah, alright, so we have this. And now, so if I estimate the averages, then we are here. And we are here. So first we concluded that X is strongly associated with Y. Yeah? We said that greater prosperity, better education, better achievement. But what happens now if you take the averages? You get a completely different regression. Yeah? Have you thought that this is possible? So this is an example of something counterintuitive. You didn't expect this. But I hope that this example is convincing. Yeah? So what does it say? It says that you can't just analyze averages. That's a different analysis. Yeah? Okay? So this is an example of something counterintuitive, and I mean, there are lots of papers about this, so I can't sit down and write about this because we know, because people say, oh, we know about this, can you call it? Yeah? But this is an example of something counterintuitive, and so 50 years ago, you would say that I have an explanation of the problem. And the consequences of that are that you shouldn't do this. Yeah? That those are different analyses. And now, here is a case for a figure. Without this figure, it's difficult to argue. With the figure, it's difficult to argue against. Yeah? Here comes the figure. Well, shall we stop for lunch? Yeah, I'm asking. Shall we stop for lunch? Yeah? Or I could continue till it gets dark. Yeah? All right. So look, because you are so decisive, I will say. to look into the other books. So this is about 10 years old, or more than 10, 2006. And it's about, say, studying human populations. This is an idea of how much of the innocence working. And I said, what is the present, what I had, and what I have been teaching you, what I need to teach. Teach this. Now, it wasn't successful, I said, oh no, I'm sorry, the books are here. Then, this is about Smoley estimation, but it's combined with missing data. Yeah? So the idea here is it's not about methods. It's about modern analytical equipment for survey statistician. What should a survey statistician have? What topics should? Yeah? And I think these are the claim here is that these are two most important topics. Missing data, Smoley estimation. Sampling design, you know that, well, certainly there are good books on that, and so that is I regard that as a problem that is solved as far as the methods are concerned. That where you can do better is just that you know better the field where you are surveying. This is my first book, which is pages, very old, and it's like mixed models. It's from 1990. Now, so there are books much more popular than this, but we really look at it from perspective. I like methods. Methods are, to me, analysis. So now you have these methods are implemented in software everywhere. This is before. When it was how should the method work. Details of maximum likelihood, but it also results. This book is about EUCIOP. EUCIOP is a collection of surveys in European countries about poverty and living conditions. And this book is from 2013. Now, this uses the data, but the purpose of the book is to show how you can do better than the standard output, graphics in particular. So what's here is this is a summary of income in the regions of Czech Republic over period of 6 years. Yeah, all summarized in this. Yeah? So you have a line that connects maximum and minimum and maximum. Oh no, it's to connect first percentile and 99th percentile. Then highlighted in it is lower quartile, upper quartile. Then there is the median. And it's separately on the same scale for every region, but it's scaled so that the median is the same. Yeah? So in a single picture, there's such a lot of condensed information. Of course, it needs a lot of description. But this is much more condensed, and instead of you look at this and then look at that, yeah, separate. No, this is all in one. It covers 6 years. You can see how you can cover more, and so on. Yeah? So this is about not just about this social studies, but computing in graphics. How to effectively and informatively same time as simple as possible. And this is about now to explain to you, in London we go around railway stations, the books, what's expensive in London is space. So people are throwing out books and they're ready for the big for instance. And so you can pick it up very cheaply for £1. Same in the hospital, that every week comes a big van, lots of books, and you go and have a look.
Okay, thank you for Nicholas for your sharing about how to write an effective journal, scientific journal. And now we open the discussions. Maybe if you don't have discussion or you have other plan, just feel free to ask. Maybe about the grammar, about how to write. Ada kebayaan nggak?
Do you have an organizations institutions in Indonesia? Yes. So here are two sort of like magazines about. Yeah. One Amstack News is the newsletter of the American Statistical Association. Yeah. Significance is a glossy. Yeah, of the, it started with the Journal of Royal Statistical Society, and now it is joined with the two. Yeah. So this is an outlet for easy articles, but they have to be very appealing. Yeah. So you send them a no, you have a look.
Thank you so much, Prof. I'm Siska Rosa. So I have learned that you said that all of the papers we use the present tense. I have joined the technical writing for scientific papers, and the lecturer said that when we write the methodology, we should use the past tense. So how about this one? Thank you so much.
I disagree. I disagree absolutely. Yeah, the methodology. Because you say about the definition, about the result that it was. It may have been derived in the past. But I don't like so example methodology is that maximum likelihood of estimate is efficient. That's a bit efficient. I don't want to say that maximum likelihood of estimate was specifically efficient. This is methodology. It still is. And it's relevant. It's not that it was relevant. We still use it, and I'm encouraging you to use it because it was. So, well, you know, it's all a matter of perspective, but I think with this course, with the feature of the course, we have only one to degree, and then this consistency. We don't switch tense for yeah, so you know, in a paragraph, certainly use the same tense. And I would use the same conceit in the whole thing, because here I would say that this water follows that. Yeah. And somewhere else, you say that in 2017, that paper did that. That's a bad proposition. Yeah? Because it refers to the same sort of act, even if it's far away. For the paper to have sort of this uniformity, same. So we agree with that, but the methodology should be balanced. For actions that we have done, for instance, application, we analyzed, we concluded, that is that is okay. Up to there is present tense, now in application we switch to the past tense, because you describe activities that took place in the past. And it's fine. But particular, that is grammatically or composition. In conclusion, in this paper we did the following. I think that's it. Yeah? Because you have present tense, but in the summary you say, this is what we've done in this paper. Yeah? So even this perfect we have done, I think even that is better than we did. But it's alright. Yeah? I prefer present tense. This paper presents, we conclude, it's past tense.
My question is related to the conclusion. How do you suggest us which should be used or not should be used when we write the summary of the conclusion?
Well, this is a very general question. The conclusion, so what is the purpose of the conclusion? The purpose of the conclusion is, now you have a interview as a committee, you have the whole paper. What can the conclusion do? The conclusion will reinforce the positive points. Reinforce the positive points of the paper.
Dia pakai 12 halaman itu di pojok kiri atas halaman.
Then the conclusion is also space for
Saya tanya bisa duduk.
point out that there's still something else. You could be done, then we did. Now, at the same time, sometimes this happens that the new development opens your eyes, and now you see some problem that you didn't see before. Yeah? Now, problems are not good things. Some problems are that when you contact a problem, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. No, you are a messenger. Yeah? And so if you bring a message that it falls, that's always good. You need the message. So this is not a conclusion. To encourage the reader that, okay, you are interested in something, you are not opposite. I like when you get the moment. So the conclusion is that the purpose of the conclusion. Here are opportunities where you can do something interesting. So that's the purpose of the conclusion. Now, so sometimes the paper is about discussion, which is focused on what you've done, and the conclusions which sort of relates again to the outside world. Now, one thing about sort of conclusion discussion is you don't duplicate sentences. You should never do it. So sometimes in abstract you say something similar that in introduction. Make sure that you don't duplicate. You will say the same. No duplication. It's categorical no. Yeah. Similarly, in introduction you promise something, and in conclusion you confirm that you done it. Make sure that you don't do the same.
I have questions about how we make a literature review. Should we position our research among other related research, and should we state the difference between our research and another research?
In a review, so this is a complete review, that is the more complete. Other than our topic, the delineate what it is. Now, if you just list the papers, you have to sort of like classify or organize these papers according to methods, according to perspectives, according to views, maybe a little also in time, chronologically, or where you go, and what and where is the progress or step up. Now, there is no perspective and there's others. Now, you can have more emphasis on notes, should be more other side. So there has to be any value. And any value is not just listing them together, but their evaluation. And the evaluation can be subjective. So we might not know what is objective. And so subjective is that it is your angle. And sometimes that is valuable in a review, that somebody has a look at these papers, and present that influence here. It doesn't matter if it's disagreeable. What matters is whether it has integrity, whether it has okay. So I switch and say something completely different. We didn't say anything about referring process. So in a referring process you get a letter and it says this is wrong, that is wrong, everything is wrong. It's not a disaster. First, you can fix it and maybe they invite you to some television. But if they don't, then you know how to interpret it and it's something less wrong. There's something worse than that. Worse than that is that you don't get anything. Yeah? Or you get just a short letter without any comments, saying that you are not interested in this. Because that is a gross failure. Not theirs, yours. But that means that they are not even interested to read it. When somebody writes a review, extremely critical, it means that they had the commitment to read it. That's a bonus in itself. But when they just dismiss it all, go away. But when they tell you that this is a good paper but it's not for our journey, it's the same thing. You got nothing, yeah? You got absolutely nothing. Somebody read it, or you don't even know whether they read it or not. But the problem is there's a possibility that the paper is not worth reading. That is a disaster. That is much worse than when they write a critical review and they object to everything. Because after your endless insights, you go to the points one by one. You can yourself, you can weigh carefully. It's like, is this a valid or appropriate criticism? Or is it just a very
Nicholas, as far as I know, attending a conference is to disseminate our research, result of our research, and also to get feedback. What do you think the importance of attending a conference, especially because, for example, in STIS we have a junior and a senior statistician. Is it attending conference only good for the junior one? How about the senior one, for example? Yeah.
It's good for everybody. The main problem is the conference is expensive. You're away for a few days, you travel, you stay in a hotel. These things are expensive. Now there are two extremes. You go to no conferences and you go to many conferences. When you go to many conferences, you will hear the same speaker again, same topic again. You get tired and you waste time for good work on your papers. So you need to find balance. The conference is really for everybody. Because as you present, my experience is if I just present, it's good enough for me because I have a better insight and I know how to improve the paper. If I get feedback, that's even better. Yeah, from the audience. If I hear papers on similar subjects, then I can compare. So, where do I stand? Do I have to work more on content, or the content is fine? I still have something new that others don't, but I have to polish my position. I would say conferences for everyone. There's something else like conferences, the conferences that you organize. So, I'm a visitor here. I really appreciate it. So, I heard about the conference yesterday, is that when you present to a large audience, that is very formal, and you don't get this fine, focused discussion as when you do a small group, as if by invitation, by choice, so that those who come, they are really committed, and they listen with their both ears, whatever, and they are ready to test you out. When you get an unpleasant question, that's not a bad thing, because you have to be tested, tried to be able to combat, respond to a not necessarily hostile, different perspective. You need that in a paper, because the paper is better if you can converse with people who feel different, people who have different views, different priorities. So that is good for, that's the conference. Attending conferences is useful. There are other aspects of conference. You meet people who are potentially, value leaders. You meet people with whom you can write papers, even if you sort of get acquainted. Conference is sort of, depends on the resources you have, and the organization has, and how much time you are allowed. Part of a conference is holiday. You can't have too much of it. But the networking, all that, it's very useful. Some conferences are connected with a journal. So the journal editor is there, and it says if you submit a paper within the limited department what you present it, then it will be treated slightly differently. I regard such papers as not as high quality as unsolicited papers. Sometimes they get to be shorter, but it's still useful because it will be in the right context, in the different context. So attending conferences is good. Organizing conferences is even better. So the website is smtl.org.uk. Okay, so this is from long time ago. Yeah. So I started this website in 2001, and it's details of everything I do. Yeah. So it was very important when I worked on my own, because it's like my.
You offered your output?
Sorry.
You offered your
No, this is books. This is one of. Yeah. This is about. Yeah, one of the books, and it is so you click here and you can download our code and supporting materials. Okay, yeah. So this is sort of the next page. It gives the title again, the book's cover. Just the front page, so yeah. Download our code and documentation with a note here. Read file readme.txt. Yeah. So this is how difficult it is to get. Yeah. And my email address if you want to write. Yeah. So go back. Yeah. And so on this website I have this text. What is where am I going? What I'm interested in. Then further down I have the list of all my publications. List of all so you can do it, you know, in every presentation. So it goes like this. The content is a page. There you are listed. You click on the link, it switches to this section. I want to say something about the personal infrastructure. So you need the computer, you need the working system, you need the software. We use Microsoft Word. Second way to make graphics. It's difficult, but I'm there. Organize all this. So LaTeX is fast superior. How much does it cost? 0. willing to pay, the parents and the system is willing to pay more, and so the teacher gets more money. There's more money everywhere. But it's also more fun because you can see if you teach. So the other model is that I study and then I put my degrees and everything else and then I go and teach and what do I teach? Teach what I learn. That's not wrong because you're teaching the same thing that was taught 30 years ago. You learn it from the ground. So it's difficult. You have to all the time update to the
Last question, because I read that you are expert in criminal.
Oh yes, yeah.
As a witness. Yeah.
As an expert witness
Expert,
in
can you tell a little bit about this? But actually.
Alright, so here's an example from
Witness. Yeah.
expert witness. Yes. So here's an example. A doctor was accused of deliberately altering data. And the argument against him, so that he was threatened with losing his qualifications, his license. And the argument presented was that he made lots of mistakes. Yeah. And they introduced bias in the analysis. Now, my role was to explain how errors occur in computer. They argued the opposite, so they argued that if you make an error, it's one error. But you made many errors. So it shouldn't have been just random, it must have been deliberate. My argument was that there was an exercise in matching involved. Yeah, where you do this drops. And it's like this, from one data, well, it's called linkage. From one database you get certain details, such as date of birth, and from another you get other details, such as date of death. And then so this is one database, you have to reorder them, same alphabetical order, and then the other one in the same order, so the data correspond, and then you create this data set. You create this data set. So one database, another database, you sort out who is in common, and you generate this. Now, if you make this error, then everything is wrong. Yeah? If you make this error, everything is wrong. So if you leave one person out here and put them here, and do this, many networks are wrong. So my argument was, he may have made, the accused, made just one mistake, and the result of it is many errors. Yeah? So the argument over this, and that is an example of being an expert witness. Another example is in where there is a presentation to a standard, to an author, to a standards. Yeah? And the argument is whether who made the mistake? Yeah? Who's responsible for it? I think it's the, so the argument is that I think that it's the standards office they should have seen in the government and dismissed it then. So the argument is who's going to say that something good, what is the essence of the error made in the system? stop there. But I wanted to go through some. Okay, so I'll go here, yeah, and now. No. So is there a mouse? Oh, this is the mouse. But it has to be. No, I can't see the mouse. Alright, so I have to be just gentle. Alright. So how do I go lower down? Or with this? Alright. So here I have like what do I, my constitution. Statistics is the business and science of making intelligent decisions in the presence of uncertainty and constrained by limited resources. So I advertise sort of, how I think, how I operate. Yeah. It is a study of how decisions should be made as opposed to how they tend to be made. How do I open this? I have an old photo. This is from many years ago. Yeah, with a. I'm interested and so on. Yeah. I perk up at the slightest chance of traveling somewhere, foreign lands preferred. And here is the top of the list. India, Sudan, New Zealand, Ukraine, Uganda, Australia, Mexico, Saudi Arabia, Colombia, and Ecuador. And then I had Indonesia. Yeah? And EU countries, I don't count them. Yeah? Countries of the European Union. They do not count as foreign. Yeah. Okay. So, how do we go back? All right. So here, recent publications. So this is an example of a medical paper where I contribute to the statistics. This is another paper like that. This also, look here, my co-author. Julia Podalaniec is from Ukraine. Yeah, so you can write it, and I admit I just worked on the English. Yeah? I met another co-author called Anastasia Glavitseva, also from Ukraine, and we agreed that so they would like to go in English and so on. This is my own paper. This is an example of statistics, but the application is this. I mean, do you know what's necrotizing enterocolitis? No, it's a horrible condition of babies. Yes. Presentations. So I presented this paper at this meeting in London. I presented this performance assessment as an application of causal inference at the conference in Florence. It wasn't a paper, it was just a poster. Now, this is an example of, I present the poster in April 2018. And in October, I submit the paper, 1 year, and the paper is accepted. Yeah, so there's one revision, so they asked me for a revision in April, do the revision, and then it is accepted. So I go to the conference to present, example improve, presentation, feedback. I want to sort of be more confident about it. I want to I want to emphasize that I work in this because some business comes my way at 7 o'clock. So the marketing of purposes. There's another conference. So here, this paper, Estimation of Model Uncertainty. This is a paper that was published already, but I was hoping to continue with research, and so I present the paper that was published already a year before. That are current projects, but yeah, just go further down. Alright. Where I travel. So, July 2018 in Austria, in Colombia, I come here, and next month I go to Ecuador. Now, okay, just stay there. Yes. So, look, we don't have to go through this. Yeah, you go to this, and here I have absolutely all my production. Yeah. So you click on this, journal articles. Click on this. Since I work in London with medical people since 2016, papers that are in RSS discussion, that is writing opinion about papers, correspondence with journals, book reviews, other journal articles to appear, manuscript submitted, then further on courses and so on. Yeah? So the purpose of this is my entire transparency, my entire sort of list of activities in the business.
Okay, because we have a limited time and the time is over. I think this is the end of our discussion, but if you still have the questions, you can ask after the sessions. And thank you, Prof. Nicholas, for sharing us very detailed about how to write an effective scientific article. And thank you very much. I close the discussion. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.